Welcome everyone to Mr. Moon has left the building. I am Sam Palmer with my co-host.
Addy Chard. Nice to see you all.
Nice to see you. How are you?
I'm a bit more subdued than I was last week. I was quite cheerful last week, wasn't I? It's all sort of going downhill pretty quickly, isn't it?
Yeah, do you know what? I was thinking about this episode and I wasn't actually looking forward to it because I was thinking it's the same episode every week at the minute. Same rubbish enough. We'll get into that in a minute. But firstly, I can see a little black head poking out of your left arm. Have you got someone tied up on the couch? Or yeah, I could just see the top of the head. What is that?
That is a little secret Santa. As ridiculous as it looks, it's actually me in a West Ham kit.
Where did you? Who got you that?
So I call her Mugabe because she's a dictator, but her name is actual Rachel Padilla, and she got me that as a secret Santa at work. So.
Where did you get it from? The club shop?
Absolutely no idea. I didn't even know.
It's pretty good. I've never seen that either.
I mean, it's pretty good, but I mean, it's not the greatest photo of me. So let's move on quickly, shall we?
Right. Well, let's get stuck into it because I feel we're gonna get stuck into it. I think, and I want to see, Gage, is your mood changing weekly at the moment? Are you getting angrier? I know a lot of fans are getting angry at the minute. You went on the weekend, didn't you?
Yeah, I went, and the fans weren't best pleased. Obviously, you saw the banners and whatnot, but yeah, it's just not a good atmosphere around the club now. But I mean, it was a dismal performance, so it's quite understandable. But yeah, it's just sad the way it's sort of panning out now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. It's become toxic again. And I don't know, I think sometimes I listen to other fans and they talk about like the manager and things like this. And I listen to Moyes' message after the game. I think his message was right in some ways, but I think you can't call yourself a winning manager when you haven't won this year. I think that was a little naive, and I think that's almost where the relationship's gone now. It's kind of like, fuck you, we'll fuck you back. It's kind of back to Big Sam, isn't it?
Yeah. He's not the most likable manager in the world. Like, I'm not yet Moyes out. Obviously, if results are not there, then something's going to have to change. But I can't say I like the man, to be honest with you. He's got a huge ego, and he's quite arrogant. And yes, he was stating facts, but it's not the way to get the fans on board, is it? And
how does he get the fans on board?
I think just owning up that it's just not good enough. We can see that it's not good enough, and he needs to own up that it's not good enough, and he needs to say that he's going to, do whatever he can to put it right, rather than just bang on about, I've won your first trophy in 40 years and I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread, because it's just not going to wash. But he's got to try and, get the fans on side, because now I think it's got to a stage where it's unrecoverable. I really do. I don't think that the fans just don't like him, do they?
No, and see, this is the hard bit of West Ham, because then it's who you go and get, and then you've got to look at the club as a whole, if it's run right, in the fact of training facilities are bad. We've done it twice now in recent years with Bilic and Pellegrini. Pellegrini was a top manager when we brought him in. Didn't work. So the problem is, and this is where I always go back to like a David Moyes type manager, if the infrastructure of the club is different, then I think you can go and get a better manager. If it's not, I think you have to play to your strengths, and I think then a David Moyes manager is the right kind of manager. It's just a shame that the fans will not accept, because I think it could be all different if the fans were on board. Because
Yeah.
we've got to remember, we were on board. Like, especially not last year, because I think actually but the years before, we loved his football. Leon, Seville, everyone was fighting. Antonio was kind of the leader of that almost team with his performances. Wasn't an amazing squad we had, but all sort of ground in. But it wasn't a great football. And the David Moyes chant was there, and it was a good feel-good factor. But nothing's changed with the football.
It hasn't really, is it?
So what do you think? Like Lingard era, I would have said was really counter-attacking. We played most of the game without the ball.
I just think those first years, we was built on being really compact defensively and being quite good, quite solid defensively, and then just springing on the counter-attack. That is how we played for 18 months, nearly 2 years, I think. Breaking with pace on the counter-attack. And that was a kind of style of play. We soak up the pressure and then we just hit you on it. And that, in a way, it's quite not exciting, but, you can live with that type of football. But now we're sort of like last year, we tried to change the style and that just didn't work at all. And we was, it was quite bad. And then this season, we're kind of stuck in a sort of limbo between whether we're going to get, 11 men behind the ball and hit on the counter attack, or we're going to try and play football. And it's neither here nor there now. So it's nearly 1.5 seasons of just not very good football, and we haven't got a style of play, and he's relying on the brilliance of individuals to win us games now, rather than having a tactic to win.
Yeah, I think I agree with that, and I look now and think, what does a new manager do? Because you have now got to bring in, like we've gone through this already. There is a lot of money that needs to be spent to get this squad up together. And I've got a few points here, and we'll go to it first, who we both think is a fantastic player. And we've gone to this before, so I'm not going to touch on him too much. But Zuma looks in trouble.
Yeah. His legs just look like they're on the wrong way round at the minute. He's really struggling with just mobility. Just looks at one point on the weekend, I see him just like sort of fall over, lost his balance, fall over. Just looked like a bit like a cart horse. And he was a fantastic player, but and
it might be that he's just got a niggle or something at the minute. It's not it could be something small. I think we all hope that, because I actually think Zuma's probably been our best centre half over the last a long time. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, and he started the season brilliantly. He was so commanding, but I think it's more serious. I think when we first signed him, there was real sort of issues with his medical. And I was really worried about it. I had to go for a really vigorous medical, and there was a bit and ahhing whether to sign him. So I think it might be a bit more serious. And it's his knee. I think it's his knees, and they're just getting worse and worse, basically.
So we got him,
which is very worrying.
Very worrying. So then you've got to say that's your main centre half.
Yeah.
Again. I feel like we're digging him out now. Because I don't want to be that as a podcast where you just hammer in players and then he scores a goal and you say, fantastic.
Yeah.
But I just don't think he's good enough. I really don't. I think he's an absolute liability at the back.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. And if you go through the season about how many goals we've conceded and how many have been his fault, it's just too many. And again, at the weekend, he's just so weak. He's got turned so easily. It's just not good enough, But also, I think his attitude's not been great since he's been back either. I mean, there was talk that he.
But maybe that's because they offered him around.
Yeah.
Maybe that is that.
Yeah. There's talk that he wanted to leave, and I don't know. Something's not quite right with him at the minute.
Because he does look worse at the moment than he ever has.
Yeah.
But then you look at what we got in reserve. Do you go and play Ange and Mavropanos?
well, you'd never would have thought we'd be saying this, but it's like you haven't got much choice at the minute, isn't it?
No, I think Mavropanos, I suppose that is the back line that stopped Arsenal.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, them two that night, Ange actually was probably one of the best games he's ever played for West Ham.
Yeah.
You're obviously worried with Ange with he's older, so his legs he hasn't got the pace. No. But then if Zuma hasn't got that either, then I think at least Ange is more mobile. Mavropanos, I don't think he's good enough.
No.
I just don't know. I hate this defend he does with his arms behind, but I have no idea why he does this.
It drives me mad.
It really, because it's impossible to defend with your arms behind your back, and he never gets close enough because of it. So I don't think he's good enough. There's no one else, is there?
No. And this is what I mean. Our whole sort of football philosophy is based on having a solid defence. And at the minute we can't defend, so we're sort of banging trouble. And
I've got to say, and I love him as well, but Soufal's looking a bit older.
Just looking old now, isn't he?
That's a little bit it. I think he's looking a little bit older this season. I thought he had that bad season or an off season, I think, where we all found out he was carrying an injuries and still playing. I think he's been brilliant for West Ham. I actually love him. But you look... Emerson's probably still our player of the year. Not been amazing the last few games at all. But there was a couple of things that you said last week as well that was in this game. Areola on the crossing. I didn't really notice it as much until you said it, actually. And now when I see it, he's not amazing on crosses, is he?
I'll go further than that and say he's terrible at crosses. Honestly, Did you see the goal that got? I don't know if you saw the goal that got disallowed.
Yeah,
I don't know what he was doing there. I mean, that wasn't really a cross, but I don't know what he was doing. But he just doesn't command his 6-yard box at all.
But I would say, in his defence, without him, in the last couple of weeks, I think we've lost a lot more. Forest should have beat us 4 or 5-0 the other day.
Yeah, I totally.
He made some great saves.
Yeah. Oh, without him, we would have got stuffed at the weekend again. Yeah. And he's a great shot stopper. He really is. It's just something I've noticed that, crossing's definitely not his strong point.
No, and then we go on to our man in the middle, Phillips.
Do you know what? Go on. What was you?
Go on. No, you say it. Go on. You start.
No, I was going to say. I thought he started the game as if he was going to, put a real shift in. It looks as though he's trying to get about the pitch and get stuck in and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I can't say he had a great game. I thought the effort was there more this week. But I mean, ultimately it ended in disaster for him.
And that, do you know what? It's funny. What you just said was a guy on our WhatsApp group said exact same. I think before I said, I think he's having a really good game. And I said, has he done any more than Souček would usually do?
No.
I said, and would you say that about Souček? And yeah, he might have run around a little bit. I didn't think he created nothing. No. He made a couple of easy balls here and there. I sadly feel that he will become a Lingard. And I think
his career, you mean?
And I think he's going to... Because we will definitely not sign him for 40 million. I think and I don't think he's kind of already been forgotten from us. I think that we'll forget that he'll ever play for. I don't think you might not even see him much more the rest of this year because he's given Moyes nothing to say. You should start over Souček, and I think really if you're Souček, you've scored a few goals this year. You probably go like. And another one I want to just touch on, just while I think of it, James Ward-Prowse.
Sort of going under the radar.
I think he does that because the same as Phillips, I don't think he's contributed for a long time now, other than a set piece corner or a penalty, like he scored them. But we can't just say set piece man. Like as I say, he hasn't scored a free kick. I don't think he's been close with a free kick this season, but. He's great with that. With his corners are fantastic, but actually in the game, don't know.
Passes him by quite a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think he tries. I don't think he's not
Yeah,
trying. But, and that's when you look. And so I keep hearing, obviously, everything about Tim Steidten at the minute. And the problem is you don't know what's a Steidten signing and what's a Moyes signing, or the club signing and Steidten signing, because it's so unclear. Because Moyes wanted, it seemed, McTominay and Maguire. You look at both of them players, and I think both of those players, especially with James Ward-Prowse, I think Maguire would have been fantastic. They are Moyes players.
yeah,
And
definitely.
Alvarez, I think, has been great. Kudus has been great. That's two that have been great. Phillips, we don't know whose signing it is. Is it a Moyes signing? And I think from what you go by with Phillips, Moyes has tried to sign him in the past, but obviously someone else has vetoed it. And I think it's been a bit unlucky because I think we all thought it probably would have worked, would have run the games, but it hasn't. And we've got zero creativity in that team without Paquetá.
Yeah,
I just don't know. I think selling Ben Rama and Fornals, even though both were not great at the last end of their career, to bring in one defensive midfielder was ludicrous.
crazy.
And that's where we're at as a club again. I saw not only the Moyes out, the GSB out was back out again.
Yeah.
And I don't think just when you get a bad run of results, you can start saying we want the owners out. I was hoping we were a bit past that, to be honest with you.
Because it had gone all very quiet, that hadn't it? While we've been doing really well, winning stuff, and it'd all gone very quiet, and now it's sort of raised its ugly head again.
And I don't think, if you ask the owners, I think they are trying their best. I think they have put money in. Like we sold Rice. I think every one of us up until this week said the signings in a whole had been good. Like we'd spent money on free midfielders that all seemed to work. It's not really the owner's fault that we're not bringing in the right players, or they're giving him the money and they back the manager to the hilt, to be fair. But I don't think it's fair for the GSB out to start rumbling again. And that's where you look at West Ham fans and you think, I think some of the stuff that we do is pathetic. And it's a bit sad, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. No, I totally agree. It is sad.
Other clubs don't do it. And I don't know what gives us the right to do it. Like why we feel that we are a top team. It's almost like this deluded reality, actually, at West Ham that we've never actually... But then I do get the other side of it. Well, why are we not trying to do it?
Yeah.
Why have we got a League One equivalent training ground? Like that's... And that is ridiculous. We're 15th wealthiest club in the world with a porter cabin of a training. Like,
yeah, stuff like that is unacceptable. I feel,
a ground that was for free, like the $2 million a year, whatever it is. So why have we got that training facility? And I can understand if maybe you had to say to the fans, listen, we're not going to have the money for signings this year because we've got to get a real training facility. Because without it, we're thinking of the future now, and without it, we can't attract players and things like that. And I think everyone goes, okay, look, we're going to have to knuckle down this year.
Yeah.
But I'm really worried about the next years.
I am. No, I am too. I mean, just on the squad matter, the squad's tiny. Got such a tiny squad.
And it's been a tiny squad for quite a few years now.
Yeah. And the first team players are only getting older. So it's like we've got a massive overhaul to do, bringing loads of new players, which we haven't got the money for probably. Looks like it's going to be a new manager at some point as well. There's talk of Tim Steidten not being happy, our sporting director not being happy. So it's as if I thought we'd moved on from this and everything at the club was looking positive, but it looks like we're going back to square one again, which is the saddest thing.
Quickly, it seems like the house is burning down now. I agree with you. I saw Steiden's brother came as a chief scout or something yesterday. But let's be honest with you, if Liverpool coming in for you, you're going to go. Yeah. It's a better promotion.
Yeah.
Why would you not?
Why would you not?
He's got no affiliation with West Ham. He's not like born around the Custom House, is he? If you're going to go, you're going to go. Like Dan Ashton's just gone to Newcastle, or going to Man United or whatever. But if you're going to change, what I'm worried at, and this is where you then go as a club, is it because we're saving money? Moyes go to the end of the season, so you don't have to pay him out. Are we going to take a manager who's not got a job, so there's no compensation? Whereas other teams just go, no, good, gone, see you later, in you get. And that's where you look at the club and go, well, is it being done on the cheap for that reason? I think they are fiercely loyal to a manager, and I think that does say a lot about them. But sometimes this is football. You need to cut and go. It's a quicker decision. Big clubs, Chelsea don't mess around with that. No. I bet if Pep went 8 games not winning, there'd be questions about Pep.
Yeah.
Thomas Tuchel at Barcelona, he's lost 8 games this season. Bayern Munich. But the problem is, if you bring in a new manager now with a new philosophy, right? So we're bringing a manager now that wants to play football. We then haven't got the players to do it. So you've got to overhaul your Alvarez, your James Ward-Prowse, Soufal, Zuma. Like all of these players, Souček, have got to go. Goalkeepers can't play at the back with them goalkeepers because both of them are not good enough to kick him. No. So then, or you're going to bring in a manager whose philosophy is to play football with the wrong players, and then it's a Pellegrini all over again. You're trying to play a philosophy, but you haven't got the players to do it.
Worrying times, Samuel.
Yeah, I think it is really worrying times. And as I say, we've got so many. Like Antonio came back. Do you know what? We all said before the game. It was the first time I think I've ever thought, oh, at least we got him back.
Oh. That's exactly what I thought.
That one-on-one, he was back, let me tell you. Fucking back to being his usual fucking best. Look, it's his first game. But he's not a natural finisher. He's not.
No.
And the man that we both mentioned, I still can't pronounce his name, the Forest striker, Awoniyi, that's it.
Awoniyi,
he gave them an absolute torrid time.
Yeah.
And I think he is a player. If you've got a Moyes-style manager, I think he is the perfect replacement for Antonio.
Yeah.
He's that big man. Like, he's not an amazing finisher either, but a bit better. I think you're probably not looking at, he's not going to be a 60, 70, 80 million pound striker. So probably a realistic person that you could go and get that slots into that team perfectly. He's a big boy as well, isn't he? So you'd say probably putting balls in his head would be good. But I quite like him. And it's funny because the first time I ever saw him, I did actually laugh. I thought he was absolutely useless. But
I mean, he wasn't great. He wasn't great at all in that game.
But then neither was Solanke, to be fair, before. So Solanke wasn't a great player. But he's turned into it. But this Awoniyi, I think he looks something different. And that's what we got to start looking at. Are we going to get... Because we've got Haller and Skamaka before, neither of whom, Ings, none of them fitted into our system. So we just literally bought players for the sake of buying players. It's just wastage after wastage that we keep doing.
Well, and apparently Ings was a present from the board, from the chairman, which is again, it's just nonsense, really, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? If the manager doesn't want to sign him, what are we doing signing someone? And he clearly doesn't rate him or use him. So what was the point in that?
No, and a present that now we're stuck with, and has stopped us signing other people.
Yeah,
it just has not worked with Ings whatsoever. No. Yeah, could he have played a bit more? Maybe. but
Yeah.
he's not a lone striker. We've worked that out.
No, he's not. Exactly.
So I think he's also older.
Yeah.
We've got, I don't know if we are, but I think we have got the oldest team in the league, haven't we?
I think we have the oldest squad, yeah.
Which is, it's really, really scary. I've got to say, as the week goes on, the weeks go on, I think you're getting more and more scared here, because I think the minute we crash out of Europe, that's my worry. If you keep Moyes into the end of the season and it starts going badly, then you might see the Burnley scenes again, where they got on the pitch, and I think it's going to be that disruptive. And I just think that's why you got to just say, let's get rid of him.
Yeah. I'm starting to think that too. I'm not, like I mentioned, I'm not necessarily Moyes out. I think, West Ham fans have got a short memory. He done an amazing job to begin with. And I think he's got enough credit he should have enough credit to see this run through, try and get out of it. If he doesn't, then yeah, see you later. But the fans are just not going to give him that time, I don't think. It's getting more and more toxic every week. And it's just the best thing for the club to part ways. And I think get an interim into the end of the season, probably. So there's a lot of talk of Mark Noble being an interim.
See, I love Mark. Mark's a friend of mine. But and I actually wrote this on a group the other day. I think it is the most idiotic idea I have ever seen. That we decide to, and I saw it and I wrote this and I just said, like, this is typical West Ham fan mentality. Let's get Mark Noble in, destroy his legacy if it doesn't go right. Man's got zero managerial or zero coaching. We just think putting him in there to a face in the dugout that the fans can maybe sing his name might be an idea. Again, it's a cheap option. I'd urge Mark not to do that, because I think he's got a great legacy at the club. Why go and destroy it for the sake of helping West Ham out? What are you going to achieve with them? I don't know. Does he even want to be a manager? I don't know. And I think that is the stupid ideas that we have got to get away from if we want to go forward as a club. Because if Man City lost Pep now, they wouldn't put Mika Richards in. Or Stephen Ireland. They just wouldn't do it. Because there'd be a thing. Yeah, look, Liverpool are thinking of putting Xavi Alonso in because he's the manager and he's got the affiliation with the club. They're not thinking of putting Neil Ruddock in. Who's got no managerial experience. Let's chuck Razor in, it'd be a laugh for the fans. And that is exactly what it is. It's a fucking circus. if that was the thing. And that is the sort of shit that I think, if we don't move away from that stuff, that's where we stay as a club.
Yeah. I guess maybe they're thinking just really short term. If they decide he has to go, Moyes has to go, like, who is gonna run the team till they get a new manager in?
Kevin Nolan, I think. Yeah, that I understand. Kevin Nolan,
makes more sense.
Been assistant manager. There he is. He's Kevin Nolan. Kevin Keane's there again. I wouldn't want any of them, but at least lets you assess the situation. That's how bad it is. And I just looked at the list of managers we're linked with, all out of work, every single one of them. No. Fucking top of the list, Steve Cooper. Let me tell you, that will turn sour within about an hour. Man looks the worst leader in the world, just his visuals. Fucking useless manager in the Premiership. Like, what did he do that was good in Premiership? They spent 400 million or something, like Nottingham Forest.
Or 400 players.
On a load of junk, like just literally junk players. Like, load of old crap that they just bought, thrown him everywhere. And they're thinking of this idiot as the manager. And that's where you think, West Ham fans, be careful what you ask for, because this is the sort of person that's coming in.
Massively. Like, you cannot trust our board to get this right, to get the next manager right, because they've shown in the past that they, make very questionable decisions. Avram Grant as the perfect example.
Oh my God, Avram! I forgot about him.
Man like Avram.
Like, yeah, rubbish. And then like we've had the Big Sam before, and it just like they won't be going. I think, sadly, I don't think.
What did you think of Big Sam? Were you, because I'm very much like I was with Moyes. I'm a results man. I didn't hate Big Sam. Yeah, the football weren't great, but it's all about results, surely.
I'm exactly that. I'm a realist. I'm a bit like you. We're realist West Ham fans. We're not. I don't think West Ham's. I look at us as a club as a whole. We do not have the infrastructure to break into the top four. We do not. Simple as that. We don't have the training ground. We don't have the coach. And I know people say, then, well, why haven't we got the ambition? Because we haven't got that money. And I respect that, the owners. They haven't got that money. Until we get bought out by like Saudis or someone like that, we can't go there. So then you look and where should we be in the league? And I think we're right there at this moment. We're above Chelsea. Chelsea spent £1 billion on players. And we're sitting above them.
Yeah.
It's not easy, this league. They've got a manager that we'd all love, Pochettino. They've got a project going on. They've taken a project of like, we're going to buy young players and hopefully develop them. But yeah, I think you can all look and go that I've seen the massive fanfare for Gary O'Neill. It's there, obviously. Gary O'Neill's below us. Fanfare for Graham Potter. Graham Potter's never been above us. So I think there is a few people like this. Lopetegui's becoming available. Didn't set the world on fire at Wolves. And to be fair, Wolves had quite a good side.
Yeah.
But
it's a good player, isn't there?
And I look at him and think, well, falls out of everyone he goes in with. I don't think I think the board like a bit of a yes man. Because, and that's not a dig at the board actually, because they've got a budget that they can run the club on. They haven't got 200, 300, 400 million a season. Oh, we're going to do 100 in January. They haven't got that. They're just not that. It's that different style. We've got a different wealth. So they need someone almost that they can control and that's why I don't think you'll see a Jose, as much as I'd love it, because then Jose would be out there knowing he'd get vocal with the fans to say, well, they're not giving it to us. Like Conte did. Conte, another one, at Tottenham, saying, well, Daniel Levy doesn't give us the money, so fuck Daniel Levy was kind of the what he was doing. And I think them sort of managers, they maybe can't handle being at a West Ham or somewhere because it's down to them to get it out. And that's when you look at the Moyes and things like that. But we have spent money. I know that's what we're going to say, but our recruitment then obviously isn't good enough.
No.
Because if we've got a recruitment department now and we've got the oldest team in the Premiership, then there's something wrong.
Yeah. Well, massively. Yeah.
So I think... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer, to be honest with you. I really don't. I don't know. I think when we sack Moyes, I think the answer is we do have to sack Moyes. But I think a lot of us are going to regret it after. Because I think we're going to go through a few years of going back down. I hope not, because you look at Tottenham, they're on that, and they've started to come back up with a few good signings, changed it around. But I think what people forget is Tottenham had quite a good side.
Yeah,
they didn't have a terrible team. I know they've changed a bit of it, but they had a good core of that team. Obviously, they've got Song and Richarlison up front. I know Richarlison hadn't done it for a while, but he was.
He's a good player, isn't he?
I think so. Yeah. I think that that's where we're at there. Anything else you can think of that's where do you think we're going? I looked at our games and they all look all right. Our rest of the game. We've got Liverpool and City in there, I think. We've got Chelsea.
Yeah.
But everything else looks winnable, but we just don't look like we can win a game. Do you think we're going to beat Brentford?
No, I don't think we'll beat. I think Ivan Toney's going to have an absolute field day.
So do
I. Excuse me. Quite worrying, because we are looking like a relegation team at the minute, trying to find a win from somewhere. And the way we're playing, it's like, I don't know when we're going to get our next win from. That's how it feels at the minute. But saying this, was like this last season. We lost 5 in a row, didn't we? And this was exactly how I was feeling. Moyes managed to get that win away at Fulham, scraped that 1-0 win, and things started to turn around a little bit after that.
Yeah.
I thought he was a goner last season during that period. So, but even if he does turn it around this season, I just think we're too far gone with him now. I think the fans are just too far gone with him.
So do I. I think it is the relationship is finished.
Yeah, which is, I do think it's a shame, because I do think he has been great for us. And like with Sam, being a West Ham fan, you're used to sort of going up and down. I felt we had a safe pair of hands who wouldn't get us relegated, even if we weren't brilliant. We're never going to go down, but I guess you don't know now.
And they hated him as well, and that it was. I think that again they don't help themselves with a West Ham manager coming in almost has to just play to them fans. And Moyes did it for a long time, but I just don't know how you can do it. Like, it's just like, I'm sure he's not happy with how it's going. Like, it's like, I think from what I hear, David Moyes is an absolute workaholic. And so it's not like he's turning up at 1 o'clock and going home at 3 and going, I'm picking up a wage here. Apparently, he's one of the most hardest working men in football. He doesn't want to get it wrong. But I think that's the standard of Premiership now. It's high.
Oh, yeah, the Premiership is such a tough league now. And what I was going to say on that is, like, he also can't comprehend his players playing so badly, like our defence are at the minute. Do you know what I mean? He sets his team up to play. So even if we don't play well against Forest and our defence is strong, we nick a 0-0. We take that.
Yeah.
But bad defending by individuals, like, we lose the game. So yeah, I mean, he hasn't been very inspiring in his tactics and his coaching recently. But I do feel players are letting him down massively with really, really poor performances.
And we haven't won since Paqueta has been out, have we?
No, we haven't.
And I think that that is worrying, because obviously he's become so important for us. But then it looks back and you don't know whether it's a manager decision, club doctor decision of why the hell we played him in that reverse leg of Bristol when he'd already gone off injured in the home one. Because they're saying he's probably another 2 weeks, aren't they?
Are they? Is that how long is that?
That's what I saw yesterday, so I don't know. But you look and go, that is just idiotic, whoever's thought of playing him there in an absolute nothing match, which we then went on to lose anyway and actually gave ourselves another game, because we would have, at that time, it was Christmas break, wasn't it? So we would have actually, if we'd have gone out in that first game, we'd have had so much rest for all the players.
Yeah.
But I think a bit of us I think we're feeling the knock-on effects a little bit now of Europe.
Games.
Yeah, we talk about it, but I think we've played more games than most teams now, and without a squad that's big enough. So I think, like, people like Souček, things like that, they've played nearly every single game.
Yeah.
So I know a few. Bowen, another one. Didn't think he hasn't, as I say, come back from his injury as good, but I'm not going to have a go at Bowen because I think he tries so hard every week.
Oh, what's he so?
Kudos can be a bit hit and miss at the minute, I think. Again, them two players are going to rely on service, and they haven't had it. They're trying to make something. There is nothing up that end of the pitch, is there? We don't know that we're ever going to score a goal.
No. I don't think we created one decent chance against Forest.
No, we had the Antonio one where he went through 1-on-1, didn't we?
Yeah. I mean, was that a mistake, though, by their defence? That was a mistake by the Forest player.
I think it was another old heavy touch, wasn't it? And it just petered out to nothing.
But yeah, we never looked like we were going to score a goal.
Never. So what are your predictions for Brentford then? Well, you won this week, I think, didn't you? With your predictions, you had predicted 2-1 to Forest.
Yeah,
so you get 1 point for that. Unlucky. I said a 2-1 West Ham win. So we are level on 1 point each. So we've got Brentford at home. What is your prediction?
I'm going to go, because I always think we'll nick a goal from a set piece. I think that's the only way we're going to score. So I always think we'll score. And I think up until some point this season, we'd scored in nearly every game. Anyway, I think 2-1 again, 2-1 Brentford. I don't think we're getting anything from that.
I'm going to go 3-1 Brentford.
Oh, yeah.
Only because I think, if I had to say, I'd say 2-1. But I think if the floodgates, if we get hit by one, I think the crowd's going to turn really nasty.
Yeah.
And I think it could be a big Moyes out together. And I think it's going to just overshadow the game. And I think this will be his last game if he loses. Because I think the fans, and to be honest with you, I thought they'd do it last year, but they didn't. I thought every week the fans were going to make it too vocal that the board have to do it. And they didn't actually do it last year. There was mumbles and there was banners and little bits here and there, but not actually widespread. But I think if we lose at home this weekend, I think that could be... I think they'll put their foot down and make it unattainable for him. Sadly, and it's a shit way for it to end, to be honest with
you. Yeah, he don't deserve it. He really doesn't, for what he achieved for us. He really doesn't deserve it, and it's a sad way for him to go. But yeah, Brighton getting early. If Brentford get an early goal, then it's going to be toxic from the start. Obviously, that's not going to help the players, and it could be anything. That the score could be anything again.
Well, so, I was gonna do a bit more, but I've got a baby screaming her head off outside for the last 5 minutes, so I've got to go and see what's going on with her. I think maybe she's heard that we've got a game on Monday, so no football this weekend for us. So which is always a bit of a killer, isn't it, when it's no football? Although actually it's worked out perfectly for me because I'm going on a golf trip Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I've just realised I'm actually not going to miss a game or have to fit it in. So there's a blinder, but I do hate it when you've got no football at the weekend, no West Ham. We have to wait till Monday.
Although it's a late kickoff for you, so that's good. Is that a good time? What time?
Yeah, it'll be like midday for me.
That's right.
So it'd be nice. So I'll probably watch it in work next week. In actual fact, I've got to get a TV up in work this week, so that gives me the incentive to put it up. Although being in the office, we're watching now. I don't know. My mood's not too good after. But let's hope we are both wrong this week, and we just need to try and nick a win.
Yeah.
And Moyes does seem to have the ability to. Sometimes when the chip's down, he just gets that win, gets a little run. Because before this, up until Man United and Arsenal, we was all quite buzzing. So
it was all quite positive, wasn't it?
Yeah, we hadn't lost in a long time. So it can change quickly, and then all of a sudden, the Moyes in bandwagon, like us, we'd sway to more Moyes in, keep him to the end of the season, see what we got, and I think it quietens down a little bit. But I think Europe is our big tell. I think if we crash out of that, I think that's then, because then it'll be known that Europe ongoing, probably Europe next season, and then I think it's like, well, you haven't delivered now. Because we've got used to it. I'll be gutted we haven't got Europe. I've loved every minute of it.
Same. So I mean, I'm definitely going to go to this next game because I feel it could.
When do we find out? Is it tomorrow?
I think we find out on Friday who we got.
It's Friday.
Yeah. Just lastly, then on that, would you rather get? Would you rather get an AC Milan so we can go to the San Siro, or would you rather get a? I don't know. I can't think who's left in there.
I want the easiest team that we can get.
This is what
I want to win it. So I want to get the sneakiest route all the way to the final, and then win it.
I would always want the easiest team to play, but I just don't think we're not going to win it this year. So I'm thinking I'd love to go to an iconic stadium and say that I saw West Ham play there. So I'm caught in between, but I'd always go for the easiest game.
Yeah, it's a tough one, especially if you got the iconic stadium and won there, then it's like brilliant. I'd fancy us against AC Milan, like weirdly, because I think we're a different team in Europe.
I agree.
It's weird, but I think Yeah, I'm really hoping he turns it around, but Brentford is so difficult. Ivan Toney has been scoring for fun since he got back. I wonder where he is going to go. I don't know.
Because I was thinking, because I'd heard it was a done deal to Arsenal. But
I
that's
fancy he's going to go Chelsea. And if I was him, I would go to Chelsea.
Yeah.
Because I think
that'd be good.
You play every week, whereas Arsenal, you might not. There's Jesus. And I think with him in that Chelsea team, Chelsea are a lot better. I don't think Chelsea are terrible. I think they are a team for the future. I think they need a couple of players. And a striker. They've needed a striker for a few years. So I think they actually, with him, start looking a bit different. Because they just haven't been able to score, have they?
Yeah. No, you're right. I think you're right. It'd make a huge difference to that team.
Him, Cole Palmer, and Sterling up top. Not a bad front line, is it?
Right, isn't it?
Cole Palmer, I wonder if I fancy he might get an England shout as well.
Yeah, I think he could go.
Do you think Phillips is going to be... Phillips and Henderson, I think their record at this moment is 8 games between them for their new clubs, 0 wins. I know that's not their fault.
No.
But both don't look great.
No. I really find it hard to think that Southgate's not going to take at least one of them. But there's strong calls for the young Kobe Mainoo at Manchester United, who I think is going to be a fantastic player. And Ross Barkley's been playing out of his skin.
Played well this year. Very well.
So
I don't think for England, if I'm honest with you.
No,
I don't think he's done enough to warrant to be there. For me, the starting 3 in the middle should be Dec, Foden, and Bellingham. Just think, put the 3 of them in there, and then you got Maddison as well.
Yeah,
there's a 4th, and then who else do you have in around that midfield? The guy from Man United, Maino.
Yeah, Maino. Yeah,
I like him, but there's a good few midfielders, but I wouldn't take Phillips or Henderson. It's just that I don't think they deserve to.
No, they neither of them do deserve it. But Southgate loves that double pivot, doesn't he? He loves to play a more holding midfielder alongside Declan Rice because he's a safety. He's an international Moyes basically, safety first. So we'll see. I mean, he might change his philosophy, but I doubt it.
I doubt it, and I think that's why there's such a divide with Southgate.
Yeah.
And it's weird. I'm on the fence. See, I'm not against safety football. It doesn't bother me. No. Would I like to see us play like? Because do you think City play really exciting football?
No. Do you know what I was saying to you last week, that I love watching football and I watch as many games as I can. But like City were on the other day. I don't think it wasn't the Chelsea game because I think I was coming back from the West Ham game. And I just thought, I'm not watching that. I'd rather watch something else than watch City.
Because it's just pass, back.
Pass,
back. And it's not. So they play more football than anybody. Yet we wouldn't be happy with that football. And a lot of Man City fans go, it's a bit boring here and there. But win every week, so it's like, or win more than you don't. But who does play exciting football? I think Spurs this year, but then they get beat as well. Just lost to the weekend to Wolves.
Yeah.
So there's give and take, and I just don't think the Liverpool play exciting football. Doesn't really get me. I don't go, and yet we talk about Klopp and Pep as the best managers ever. Man United, I think, were more of a counter-attacking team years ago, which is quite weird. They won the league. Same with Chelsea's Jose. They were very strong and thing. Arsenal were very different. They were probably the best footballing team that probably the Premiership's ever seen with that Invincibles.
Yeah.
But, there's not many when you look at it. Everyone wants to play football, but there's not loads of teams that actually go out. Like Burnley play football. They get beat every single week. I've never seen something so ridiculous in my life, what they do. It's just like, that's their philosophy. If I was a Burnley fan, I'd be saying, get these idiots out of our club and get me Moyes, get me Big Sam.
Yeah,
that ball out the back every week. They do it every single game. They get caught every single game. There's not a game they have not been caught with it, is there? Even if I was a shit striker, I'd fancy playing against them. Because you just push up and just like, you're going to pass it out the back. So it's like, it's mad, isn't it?
You're right, though. You're right.
Right, let's wrap that up. This will, thanks for everyone that keeps, I just want to say thank you to everyone who keeps sending a few questions and saying they're enjoying it as well. So that is very nice to hear. If you've got any topics you want us to discuss, please let us know. But I want to discuss next time chants and favourite chants. Ooh. So I think that's something we should discuss. Because I think the problem is we were supposed to be a bit of a nostalgia as well, but events have got so bad that there hasn't been much nostalgia other than we have always pretty much been shit. So all right, well then, so see you next time. So I will see you next Tuesday. This will air on a Saturday, and then we've got Brentford this week. So come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons. Come on, Moyes. Let's get it right.
Yes, let's get it right. See you later, Ad.
See you, mate.
Speak to you in a bit. Bye, mate.
Bye, mate.